Today, I will be reading you a story from the book Caught by Georgia Bragg. Caught, Nabbing History's Most Wanted. And today, I want to read to you the story of Vincenzo Peruggia, the Invisible Man. Vincenzo Peruggia, born October 8th, 1881, in Dumenza, Italy, died October 8th on his birthday, 1925, in Haute-Savoie, France, at the age of 44 years old. You probably never heard of Vincenzo Peruggia. He committed an unthinkable crime, and then he was promptly forgotten. He didn't get a catchy nickname like Billy the Kid, and there are no legends about his life. Vincenzo Peruggia stole Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa from the Louvre Museum in Paris, and he didn't even go to jail for it. It was too easy, too, because Mona was just hanging there on a nail. Back in 1911, the security at the Louvre was laissez-faire, which is French for loosey-goosey. There were no surveillance cameras, no cameras at all, motion detectors, or alarmed windows. The guards were a bunch of barely breathing old men, and there were 100 passkeys floating around that opened every gallery, closet, vault, and stairwell. The only thing protecting Mona Lisa was her newly made three-dimensional glass frame. Mona Lisa was the first painting to get a glass covered frame at the Louvre, and the young Italian Vincenzo Peruggia beat out some local Frenchmen for the job. Peruggia was skilled in carpentry and glasswork and had traveled far from home to find steady work. The French didn't like an Italian taking their jobs, so they hid Peruggia's tools, salted his food, and called him macaroni, which may sound tasty but was meant as an insult. Peruggia didn't like them either, and he thought putting glass between the painting done by fellow Italian Leonardo da Vinci and rude French people was a good thing. He hated that the French got to say bonjour to the Mona Lisa instead of the Italians back home. Peruggia decided to do something about it, s'il vous plaît. On Sunday, August 20th, 1911, Peruggia visited the Louvre, and when everybody left, he snuck inside a closet. Hiding in the Louvre was simple because it has 1,000 rooms, including one that is 4 football fields long, and there was no security. Kicking back, Peruggia had a little Italian vino and formaggio picnic, that's Italian for wine and cheese picnic, and went buonanotte, good night, in the closet. Only maintenance workers were allowed in on Mondays. So the next morning, wearing his Louvre-issued white smock uniform, he emerged from the closet. The smock gave Peruggia carte blanche, which means a free pass, meaning he could go anywhere in the museum, and he went right for Mona Lisa. Using about every muscle in his 5'3" body, he lifted the 77 pounds of Mona Lisa and her frame off the wall and carried her into a stairwell. He unscrewed her clunky frame that he had made with a screwdriver. Unable to roll her up because she was painted on wood, Peruggia stuck Mona Lisa under his smock in the back. But the key he grabbed didn't work on the exit door, so he removed the doorknob with his screwdriver and was in the process of wrenching the lock off when a plumber came down the stairs. Thinking fast, Peruggia hollered about the jammed door, making enough of a stink that the plumber didn't seem to mind that Peruggia was taking the door apart. Nor did the plumber notice there was a 31-inch tall painting stuck in the back of the 63-inch tall Peruggia. The plumber let him out of the mangled door as if nothing were amiss. Once in the street, Peruggia wrapped Mona Lisa in his smock and headed home with the 400-year-old masterpiece. Even though Mona Lisa had been in the same spot at the Louvre for the last 100 years, the empty space on the wall didn't cause alarm for the whole day. It took until Tuesday for anyone to realize Mona Lisa had left the building. In a matter of hours, the entire country of France went on lockdown. Meanwhile, Mona Lisa was having her coming out party. As fate would have it, the first photograph of her was taken just days before she was stolen. Newspapers across the globe printed her photo, and millions of people got to see her for the first time. Her disappearance had made her a celebrity, and it sparked an international dragnet to find her. Little did everyone know she was holed up in a one-room apartment only 2 miles from the Louvre. Mona Lisa's previous digs had been a little more royal. Leonardo da Vinci never let her go until he died. After that, she spent 50 years in France's Francois I bathroom. Then she moved up to the bedrooms of Louis XIV and finally Napoleon before residing in the Louvre. Now, Mona Lisa's painted mug was in the not royal at all Vincenzo Peruggia's one-room apartment with his bed right next to the stove. Forensic detective Alphonse Bertillon was hired to find the most famous mugshot in the world. After all, he invented the mugshot, and he was the first detective to win a murder case on the evidence of fingerprints. Bertillon found a thumbprint on Mona Lisa's discarded frame. He got to work searching for the match in his criminal records. Bertillon questioned all the museum employees. Peruggia lied about where he was on the morning of the crime, and no one checked his alibi. A detective searched Peruggia's room, but apparently not that well because Mona Lisa was in there. For some reason, Peruggia wasn't fingerprinted, unlike everyone else at the museum. Bertillon had access to a full criminal profile on him, complete with mugshots and fingerprints because Peruggia had been arrested twice, once for attempted robbery and once for weapons possession. The Italian practically had a target on him, but Bertillon still didn't spot him. The plumber could have nailed him, but he didn't remember anything distinctive about the man he let out the door, like the fact that he was very short, had a huge handlebar mustache, and spoke with an Italian accent. The plumber even looked through Bertillon's book of mugshots, but Peruggia's face wasn't ringing any bells for the plumber. Bells should have been ringing like crazy for everyone. If the French had been paying attention, le jackpot was right there, but it looked like Peruggia had the makings of the invisible man. 2 years went by, and Mona Lisa's trail went cold. Peruggia could have kept Mona Lisa for the rest of his life, but then Peruggia answered an ad requesting art for sale, and he sent a letter to Alfredo Geri, an art dealer in Florence, Italy. The stolen work of Leonardo da Vinci is in my possession. It seems to belong to Italy since his painter was an Italian. Intrigued, Geri set up a meeting. Peruggia pulled another coup when he transported Mona Lisa across the border from France to Italy in a hidden compartment of a wooden box. In case the guy with the stolen painting was a weirdo, and to help verify it was the real Leonardo painting, Geri brought along the director of the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy, to the letter writer's hotel room. When they met, Peruggia was asked for 500,000 lire, which is 2.14 million today, but added, "I did not take the picture through a desire for gain." The Mona Lisa was in fine shape. She only had a smudge on her cheek and a scratch on her left shoulder. Peruggia let the two men take the Mona Lisa to the Uffizi. Then they called the police. Peruggia was arrested. The Italians were crazed with joy to have Mona Lisa back where she belonged in Italy. Even though the art thief Peruggia was put in jail, everyone thought he was a hero. The Mona Lisa stayed in Italy for 2 weeks, and hundreds of thousands of people came to see her before she was taken by police guard back to France. The French were so embarrassed by this fiasco, they didn't even prosecute Peruggia for the crime. Peruggia went to trial in Italy, though. He was found guilty, but no one wanted him punished. He received a sentence of 1 year and 15 days in prison, but since he had already been to jail for 7 months during the trial, the judge decided that was long enough. Peruggia was released immediately, and Vincenzo Peruggia's 15 minutes of fame were over. Mona Lisa's fame was just getting started. Before the theft, she had been a local celebrity, but when Peruggia stole the Mona Lisa, he made her the most famous painting in the world. Vincenzo Peruggia got no credit for that either. Art crime. Vincenzo Peruggia's facts and stats. Even today, with security cameras, motion detectors, bulletproof glass, alarmed windows, and guards watching your every move, art is often stolen from museums. 80% of all art heists are inside jobs. 5 artistic art heists. Number 1. In Italy, thieves hoisted a Gustav Klimt painting through a skylight from the Ricci Odi Gallery. Number 2. A thief replaced a Henri Matisse painting with a forgery at Venezuela's Museo de Arte Contemporáneo de Caracas Sofia Imber. Nobody noticed for months. 2 men at Drumlarney Castle in Scotland stole a Da Vinci painting by pretending they were police officers. Thieves in Stockholm took 2 Renoirs and a Rembrandt from the National Museum and got away in a speedboat. A man in Paraguay dug an 80-foot tunnel from his shop to the National Museum of Fine Arts, and then he and his accomplices stole $1 million in art. FBI crime teams. 16 special agents make up the FBI art crime team, founded in 2004. It works in worldwide cooperation with foreign law enforcement. 14,850 stolen artworks worth over $165 million have been recovered. Billions of dollars worth of art is stolen every year. 1 month before the Mona Lisa was stolen, the Louvre hired a photographer to take photos of the painting front and back. When the Mona Lisa was returned, authorities compared it with the photographs, which proved it was the real painting and not a fake. The Bertillon system of criminal identification. Before mugshots, fingerprinting, DNA, and other forensic tools, one of the first systems of criminal identification was with body measurements. Alphonse Bertillon worked for the Paris police, copying descriptions of criminals onto index card. His criminal identification method was called the Bertillon system. This system focused on collecting detailed body measurements of criminals. It was one of the earliest scientific methods used in criminal investigations. 1 in 4 million. The chance that 2 people would have 11 body measurements all in common: height, weight, head circumference, shoe size, etc. 1 in 16, the chance that 2 people would have 2 measurements in common. Bertillon began adding photos to his index cards, one of the face from the front and another from the side. The file cards became known as portraits parlés, speaking portraits, in France. In the United States, they became known as mugshots, referring to the photos of the face. 1900 was the year Bertillon began adding fingerprints to his criminal ID cards. 1 in 64 billion, the chance of 2 people having the same fingerprint. History of fingerprinting. Dactyloscopy. 1880, Dr. Henry Faulds figured out you could use the fingerprints to establish identity. 1897, India was using fingerprinting to identify criminals. 1910, fingerprint evidence was used successfully in the United States in an Illinois murder trial. 1924, FBI set up a storehouse for fingerprint cards and eventually had more than 200 million cards. 1991, automated fingerprint identification system, a digital database, was created by the FBI. 1999, to enlarge the scope and usage of AFIS, it was turned into the Integrated Automated Fingerprint Identification System, IAFIS, which stores, compares, and shares information with law enforcement agencies. That was the story of Vincenzo Peruggia, who stole the Mona Lisa. Thanks for listening.